John Bull's last day with us at Wave News is Friday because he's retiring. John's reach in Louisville goes beyond anchoring the news. Radio personalities and other community leaders, they have felt the impact of his storytelling over the years. Here are their messages to him.
John Bull, he's an absolute legend.
Legend here in Louisville. And
yes.
Think of this, John. As many times as we have crashed your live broadcast backside at Churchill Downs, we're now crashing your retirement party.
Look at that!
Isn't this amazing?
That is great.
We got you this.
Yes.
You can't have it permanently.
I mean,
because this is for us to keep. But this
that
is
part. Just turn it this way.
Yes. Yes. John, we're going to miss you. You're an absolute legend here in Louisville.
Yeah.
And what are we going to do without you?
Enjoy retirement. We'll come visit.
I love when he says that people come up to him at a state fair or something and they say that, hey, I feel like I know you now from the radio. And he's got how many more viewers from television versus what we have on radio. But that's a personal medium, radio is. And I think you get to know the person a lot when he talks about things.
Who else runs an Ironman, goes fishing, does all these drug house investigations, and then anchors the news? And that's the thing about John. It's like you get to know him. It's not just some guy reading a script behind a desk wearing a coat and tie. He's a part of the community. He's out there, and he really cares. And that's one of the things that I like the most about John Bull. And I hate that we're losing him.
The thing about him, though, is he's always ready as a friend. Let's say I was training for a marathon and my card says I got to run 15 miles on Saturday morning. I'll call him Friday night or text him and say, can you do 15 with me tomorrow morning? Sure. What time? And he'll be there. And then we'll run 15 miles. And it wasn't on his schedule, but it doesn't matter. He just does it to help you.
Because he cares that much about
That's right.
friends.
That's exactly right. He knows you need the support and he'll just give it to you.
Everything that John does is just so well planned, so well researched, so thought out. I mean, he is a newsman's newsman, the best of the very best at the very highest level. And my gosh, John, from the bottom of my heart, I just wish you the very best of luck, and I'm pretty darn curious to see what life's next chapter is going to bring for you.
John, I'm going to miss you dearly. I'm going to wish you, on behalf of everybody at Churchill Downs, we're all going to miss you, and you deserve a great retirement. I'm thrilled that you're going to be closer to your father, your sister up in Wisconsin. You're going to be able to ice fish on a daily basis. I don't know how you do it, but more power to you. Let's hope betting's available. Is betting available in Wisconsin? Is that a state where you can do that? That's going to be very painful for you. I don't know if you've totally thought that through.
I've always told John, and when we text, that he is my brother from another mother. I have a place in my heart for him. And I say that because when he went through his dark period, I don't think he ever thought that he'd recover from that, but he was dedicated, he was committed, and he had a family and friend support system that was going to make sure he rose to the top again. And so when I think about him, I think about a person that's compassionate, even though it may not seem that way on TV when he does his stories, a person that cares about this community, and who I will say I will miss dearly. I was saddened the day that he announced his retirement. Love you, John Bull.
When you think of competitors, especially TV news in the late 80s and 90s, you don't think of competitors even liking each other. After all, that era was always portrayed as the TV news wars. But John was the best competitor to ever have. He made you rise to your best. If you weren't on your A game, you got scooped. And then you heard from your boss immediately.
John, during your 22 years here at WLKY, you were an integral part of the growth and community impact of this television station. You did so much award-winning work here, as evidenced by this wall of Murrows behind me. And while you did not end your career here at WLKY, you will always be a part of the legacy and the history of this television station, and always a special member of the WLKY family. We wish you all the best in your retirement.
I don't believe he's retiring. Let's say he leaves on day one. Day 2, he'll go fishing. Day 3, he'll go fishing. Day 4, he'll hug his grandkids. Day 5, he'll study the Green Bay Packers history and see who they have next year. Day 6, he'll be calling you, Shannon. Take me back! Take me back, please!
You know, I've been bugging John, just come back for Derby. Come on, you want to come back. Really, John, they don't make them like you anymore.
Well, thank you. That means so much on so many levels, right? So your competitors.
Yes.
Doug, 89 and 90, my first 2 years here. Doug and I clashing on the streets every night. We were both the Nightside reporters Monday through Friday, and we were belly up to the TV every night to see who beat who. Mm-hmm. And we still do that. We still do that as the anchors now. All these years later, think about that.
Yeah.
And the radio, Drew and Mark on the radio, 9 out of every 10 people who stop me on the street don't ask about TV stories I'm working on. Mm-hmm. They talk about being on the radio. Because Drew's right. Being on the radio over these years with first Tony Vanetti for years and then Drew and Mark, people get to know you. And I'm really shocked that I didn't get fired for something I said on the radio, because you know how radio can be.
And how unhinged you can be.
Yes, my rants, and you can't reel it back in on the radio. But it just, the opportunities, all the people you saw there have afforded me, just made me live a dream life.
But think about like your voice and how far it carries in people's cars, in people's homes, in people's workplaces. You've touched more people than I think you will ever comprehend.
Well, thank you. We have a duty here to try to help fix what's broke as journalists. But we also have an opportunity to try to brighten people's days, so that you can do that on radio, and you can do that just by the way you treat people when you're not on the air.
Yeah. And let me tell you, folks, John is the type of person, you know, we've been all recounting stories, and you may not realize the words that you have with us here at WAVE, the things that you say to us that have a lasting impact, but we remember them.
That's what I'm learning.
And, you know, like I was telling John, I remember during COVID, when you hadn't seen me in a long time, you said this to me, and that stuck with me. You don't remember it, but I remember it.
No, that's the lesson I'm learning.
Yeah.
You know, we have so many life lessons. Every chapter in both of my books is about a mini life lesson. And the lesson I'm learning in this phase of my life this week is the little things I said to people I don't even remember, how much it meant to them.
Yeah.
So what does that do? That underscores how we have to do that more, right?
Yep. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back.